All right, so today we're gonna be doing something a little bit different and a little fun. Fig Vodka is coming up. That's next. Hello everyone, this is Dwayne with Edge of Nowhere Farm, and we're coming to you here today with something just a little bit different, something a little fun. So we, as you guys know, I'll link our fig video here. We get a lot of figs here on the farm. So we're always trying to figure out ways to eat more figs. We eat them fresh, you know, we freeze some, we've tried all kinds of stuff when it comes to fig. We can use them in cooking, which is amazing in cooking. Obviously, we love them fresh. Also tried drying figs, and when we dried our figs this last time, we did them a little too dry, so they're kind of crispy, but we wanted to figure out something that we could do with dried figs. So heard about Fig Vodka or Fig Liqueur, and that's actually what we've been trying over the last couple months. So we've tried them a couple different ways. We've got frozen figs. We've actually tried thawing those out. They make a great syrup, so it makes them nice and kind of sugary, but kind of gives it an off color. You need to keep it in the fridge. It's kind of a pain. So we've tried dried figs, and it worked amazing. So we're going to show you our Fig Vodka recipe today, and it's going to be using dried figs. So obviously, if you have your own fig tree, you dry your own figs. They're your figs. You know, you can also get dried figs in the grocery store. So this is something that you can make even with figs that you buy. So what we're going to do is we're going to use about a cup or so of figs. We've got a cup or so of dried figs here. Next to it, we've actually got a sweetener. Now, you can use any type of sweetener that you want. What we did this time, we've used honey, which we're going to actually show you the final kind of step to this, and we're going to show you our honey sweetened fig vodka. We're going to show you that here in just a few minutes, but what we're trying this time is a simple syrup that actually made out of brown sugar. So this is a brown sugar simple syrup, so it's basically just 50-50 water and brown sugar turned into a syrup, so we've got that. And then we've got our some vodka and water. So Lori and I, not huge drinkers, so what we do is we water down the vodka just a bit. What I understand as far as vodka, if you use kind of a name brand, more expensive vodka, apparently it's supposed to taste better. Again, Lori and I, not big drinkers. Maybe we would be able to tell the difference, but we just have your basic cheap vodka. It's 80 proof, so it's 40% alcohol. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna water that down by a quarter. So we're gonna bring it down to about 30%. So what I have here is I have about 9 ounces of vodka, and we have about 3 ounces of water. So this is basically it's our RO well water that we have here that we drink. So it's drinking water that we're going to mix or cut the vodka with. And then what I have here is a wide mouth mason jar. So this is a pint-sized mason jar, and I think we're going to have enough room. I don't know, we're going to see here in just a second. But that's what you do as far as ingredients, so super simple. So what I'm going to do now is just show you how to put that together. Okay, so this is how you put it together. Very, very simple. So we're going to take our jar first. So we have our ball jar here. Going to take off the lid. And first thing we do is we actually put the figs in. Super simple. I know this is exciting. So we got our figs in there. So that's about halfway full. You could probably use about twice as much. We've used them where they're really crammed in there. And it does add a little bit more fig flavor, but it doesn't have to be completely full. Not super important. Okay, next thing, super, super important would be the vodka. So that's going in next. So just pour that right in. So now one of the other things about cutting this with water is the dried figs are going to soak up a lot of the liquid. So we don't want it soaking up just the alcohol. We want to soak up some of the water too. So water's next. So we're going to put the water in there, and oh, I think I'm going to have enough space. That's a good thing. All right, last but not least is going to be the syrup. Syrup goes right in. And what I like about the brown sugar, I kind of like this to look a little bit darker. And so that's going to allow this to really kind of darken up and kind of give it that like real, I don't know, in my mind, a liqueur is kind of dark. I suppose it can be brown, more of a light brown, but it's going to give it that nice dark color. So I'm going to just stir this in just a little bit. That way it gets nice and mixed. And I'll tell you what, that's like perfect. So if you guys are gonna follow this recipe, you can use more figs, which is fine, but that total amount of liquid actually worked out just about perfect. If you did have more figs in, you might have to cut it back just a smidge, but otherwise I think it's gonna be good. Okay, now, super important on this, you wanna make sure you tighten this really, really tight because you're gonna be shaking this. which I'm gonna go ahead and do now. All right, so that's started. So what you wanna do is you can leave this out. It's shelf stable. I mean, it is alcohol, so it's gonna kill off any bacteria that might be on those dried figs. But you're gonna wanna shake this every day. So put it into a cool, dark place. We just put it into our pantry, and you leave it in there for a couple weeks. So obviously, the longer you leave it in there, the kind of stronger and more condensed it's gonna get. But 2 weeks is pretty much a good time frame. I think we've gone to about 3 weeks, but that's about it. So that goes into a shelf in the pantry, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna fast forward 2 to 3 weeks. So I've got a finished Fig Vodka here. We've actually had this in the pantry for about 3 weeks, so a little bit longer than you typically would, but it's looking really good. So it's got this really beautiful amber color, and we did sweeten this one with honey. So the batch we're starting today, that we're showing you today, we're actually using a brown simple syrup. This one we actually used honey. Wound up with about 3 tablespoons of honey, about the same amount of liquid as we went with today, pretty close at least, to finish this. One of the things that you'll notice as the figs themselves have really plumped up a lot, so they've soaked in a lot of that vodka. One of the things you can do at the end of this process is press some of that vodka out of those figs. I'm not gonna show you that today, but you definitely can do it. So what you need here to finish it, super simple, a finishing jar. So we like basic mason jars are super easy to use. They seal really well, so that's what we're gonna use today. So I've got a pint-sized jar here, and then I have 2 colanders, 2 hand colanders. I've got one that's a little bit, I'm gonna say it's gonna be a little bit finer, would be the best way to describe it. So I've got one that's in my left hand that's a little bit finer, that's gonna be the final, and then I've got one that's a little coarser. So we're just gonna use these 2 to really get that basically filtered. So really, really easy. All you do is take the first colander, pour into that. It's gonna pour down through the second one. And we're gonna get all those figs out of there. And like I said, if you wanna press these figs, you definitely can. In fact, we may do that a little bit later, but I'm not gonna show you guys that on camera. So that guy's done, and you can kind of see how we're looking. And man, that looks really, really good. So I'm looking forward to trying this. Good thing it's evening time. All right, so that's good. And we are filtered, so those are done. I'm gonna set those aside, and basically if you look at this, so this guy here, it's not real clear, which is okay. If you wanted to get this a little bit clearer, you could probably use some cheesecloth. You know, we've tried coffee filters before. It takes a long time to drip through a coffee filter, but you could do that as well. We're not really too concerned about that. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it into the finishing jar. So all we're doing is just transferring it over one more time. So this is where it's gonna stay. And that's our finished product. So just shy of a pint. And I believe, so we lost probably maybe 1/5 of a pint or so of liquid. We can probably squeeze a little bit out of those figs, but not the end of the world. But as far as that is Fig Vodka. That's the finished product. All right, so I just want to thank you guys for joining us today. Had a quick one, something a little more fun we wanted to share with you guys. And hey, you know what, if you haven't done so already, hey, subscribe to our channel. You know, this is the first video that you've seen. It's a little different from what we typically do. You know, we're a farm, so we do a lot of things about, you know, fruit trees and livestock. And, you know, actually we got something really exciting coming up. We're actually moving from our 1-acre farm to our 6-acre farm. If you haven't seen it already, I'm going to link our 100th episode here. We share some basic information about what we're going to be doing and kind of the direction of the channel here going forward. But we wanted to share this with you today. Love it if you would join us. And hey, if you have any questions or comments, hey, leave them in the comment section down below. You know, we really enjoy reading those comments and interacting with you guys. It's really a cool format to do that. And Laura and I would love to do that with you. So just want to thank you for joining us today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere, so can you. With our not vodka recipe. We don't distill vodka around here. That's illegal. Do-over. Hello everyone, this is Dwayne with I think I've been drinking some of the vodka.